Before we talk about where we are, we must first remember from whence we came. Marty Schottenheimer brought winning football back to Kansas City and built what is now known as Chiefs Kingdom.
We transitioned from a team built on its defense in the 90s to one of the most dominant offenses and return men in NFL history, led by Dick Vermeil.
In 2012, a 2-14 Chiefs team displayed disastrous play on the field and turmoil off it. We asked to save our Chiefs, and in came Andy Reid, who immediately turned this franchise into a perennial playoff team.
Then, on April 27, 2017, the Chiefs broke free from their journeyman quarterback restraints and drafted Patrick LeVon Mahomes.
In 6 years with Patrick at the helm, we're back-to-back champs and a dynasty headed towards a three-peat. We are unrelenting for this city, these players, and this team. This is the show for the allies. Arrowhead Allies. Welcome in to Arrowhead Allies, everybody. This is a joyous occasion as we've got one of our own from right in our hearts. An ally has come back to the program. Welcome back to Arrowhead Allies. Brian B. Shynin from Hot 103 Fans, Foolish Club Media, Brian's World Podcast. Our brother's back in the building. We love it, ladies and gentlemen.
That's all, fellas. I miss you. I love each and every one of y'all. Hope everybody's doing well. I can't wait to get into it, fellas. What's up?
Oh my Tone Loc? Is that Tone Loc?
What is happening?
Love it.
How's everybody doing?
What is up with that voice? We're talking to Tone Loc right now. Reality used to be a friend of mine.
I must have a something going
that's
on.
That's the Barry White filter.
I love
Is this better? Is this better?
I kind of enjoyed the Barry White filter, though.
Dude, that was amazing.
I'm sorry. Okay, so let me explain.
Please.
I'm sorry, Phil. That was I did not know that was going to happen. I have a program. I have a program called Voice Mod that my microphone is hooked up to.
Yeah.
So when the Arrowhead Allies intro was playing, I'm trying to like make sure that I'm right and clicking on it and stuff because I want to make sure I'm on time or whatever. So I clicked the pirate. There's a pirate. Look,
now, I'm a pirate now. Can you hear me? I can switch to a lot of things.
But let me go back though. I'm sorry. I apologize. That was totally unplanned.
That was great.
Ryan, I don't even know where to start, but I got to start with this. Did you see during the Bills game, no one was watching it on Sunday, but they said that the Bills moniker for this season, Brian, this is for you. They stole it from you. The Buffalo Bills moniker for this for their offense this season is everybody eats. I'm not joking.
I heard that. I was watching Red Zone, but I think I heard it last week when what's the receiver, Mac, whatever his name is,
Collins.
Yeah, number 13, I think his number is the fake Stevie Johnson. For those who remember him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it from him last week during the Bills game. Oh, okay, fine. Josh Allen still has to be Superman in order for them to compete. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure their receiving corps is looking a lot like this. We remember this photo.
Yikes. This had to be from 2 years ago.
It was last year.
Last year, okay. Well, close enough.
It seemed like 2 years ago.
Well, the receiver corps has come a long way.
Yeah,
it has. Even with
there's nothing for you all to argue about with the receiver corps this year, huh?
Right?
It's been nice and boring. Let me tell you right now, man. Nice and boring.
The way we like it.
I'd be one to say opposing defensive coordinators know how to play Patrick Mahomes to keep him from throwing 45 or 50 touchdowns because they keep those safeties back. And I think for the rest of Patrick Mahomes' career, they're going to keep those safeties back. And we won't even see Patrick Mahomes throw 40 touchdowns for the rest of his career. But you know what? He will continue to win because the best thing about Patrick Mahomes, and we talked to Pat Mahomes Sr. on here this year, as well as last year, what Pat Mahomes says about his son is he continues to learn and deal with what's brought in front of him. You know, it's like, okay, you want to have those safeties back? I'm going to nickel and dime you, or I'm going to run for 15 yards and get a first down. So I even honestly believe if we had T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, those two receivers would be great in this offense, but they would not have the same yards and touchdowns that they have in the Cincinnati Bengals offense because Joe Burrow is a pure pocket passer and doesn't play the same way as Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes will be great, and these wide receivers in this January and February will continue to be great. So I'm excited about the wide receivers that we have. What do you think, Brian?
Oh yeah, it's giving me a chubby all year. Pause. I'm not gonna lie to you, especially when we got D-Hop. But look, it just like when you get Patrick a competent group to work around, and forget the receivers for a second, the offensive line. When they got the offensive line together a few weeks ago, when they put Joe Tooney at left tackle and Patrick Mahomes is actually able to be comfortable for 2 or 3 seconds and not getting touched or not getting afraid of the ball being slapped out of his hand by, Myles Garrett or TJ Watt or whatever, like it makes a world of difference for him specifically, for every quarterback, of course, but for Mahomes, he has to know where you're going to be, that you're going to be there. He has to trust that with his offensive line, with his receivers, with everybody. And if you're not, he'll make a play or two, but don't expect for the ball to come your way if you miss out on your opportunity. But he has to be comfortable with these guys. And going back to the receivers, I haven't seen him this comfortable in a very long time since our friend number 10, who currently maybe wears aqua and white. I'm just, I knew you had it on deck, Noah. I knew you did. You ain't missed the beat. This is what I'm saying, man. Look, he's been throwing subtweets the Chiefs' way the whole year, especially towards the end of the year. So
just a happy new year.
Look, don't let the Chiefs get that man back. Don't let it happen, NFL. Y'all gonna mess up.
And it's very possible too. I will put it that way. Very possible with the Dolphins having the $28 million in dead cap, which isn't a lot if you really think about it. The Chiefs could actually restructure that deal because there's only 2 years left on it, voidable in 2026. So it's actually 1 year when it comes to that. So yeah, I can definitely see that happen. And Brian, we'll be happy, man. And like you mentioned Chubby, that voice did it for me, man. So I might have to sit down for the rest of the show and actually after the show and kind of just chill here for a while. But you know what, dude? I just want to say, first and foremost, dude, it's so awesome to have you back on the show. To have the fluidity back with all of us here, man. I've definitely missed that, man. Really have, and I love the success you're having with your show, man. So congratulations to that. Yeah. I've been following it. You've been doing great stuff, man. Honestly, I just wanted to put that out there first and foremost, dude. But we haven't talked football all season, really, dude. I really wanted to get your thoughts more so out of the wide receiver stuff because I know that's what we focused on so much in the offseason. I want to talk about this defense real quick with you because I said a couple weeks ago on this show and on our show at the Spoken that I felt that the Chiefs defense is going to finally be at that place where they're not going to get the attention because last year they got all the attention. They were saving the Chiefs' ass every single week, and Patrick would make 1 or 2 plays that would put the game on ice. I feel that now that the defense is going to get a little underrated. They're not getting as much attention this time around because the Chiefs have retooled their offense, and they're going to start playing with more fluidity on the offensive side. I want to talk to you about this defense and your confidence level. Is it the same as it was last season? Is it more? Is it less? Where are you kind of at moving forward into the postseason with a rested and I think motivated and pissed off defense that might be a little underrated?
Man, Lance, glad to be in conversation with you again for sure. And I had to recognize that because you shouted me out and gave me so much love. The Spoken is always doing numbers every Saturday. Everybody sees it on Twitter. So I appreciate you for that.
Thank you.
The defense, I'm not as high on them as I was last year, but you make a great point about them being underrated because the spotlight was on them for a minute this year for a number of games. And then, they kind of that Bills game kind of shows some things. And I have a theory about that Bills game. I have a theory about all of that. If we can get to that a little later on. But it's the defensive backs for me. And that's my concern. And thank God Jalen Watson is on the road to recovery and maybe coming back next week for the divisional round. But, man, last week I did not like what I saw, fellas. I didn't. A lot of those guys are seeing significant snaps. And last week, they were getting burnt by the Denver Broncos offense. Like, they're fine. They're okay. Bo Nix is no Mahomes or Manning or Brady yet or anything like that, anything close to it. But he made it way too easy last week. And I understand there were circumstances in that game. All right, we're not playing our best. We really didn't game plan. We kept the vanilla. It was preseason game number 4. But man, I am from the school of I see what I see. And I don't really go off stats. They're fine to look at. They're fun to look at after the game, whatever. But if I see some things on tape and on the film during the game that I don't like, technique-wise, to me, the stats don't make up for that. And so we saw Roland Wallace, he was getting toasted. Who else was getting toasted? Najee Johnson, the worst player on the team, in my opinion. He's my can't get right this year. Najee Johnson, because every time he's on the field, he can never get it right. He's always getting burnt. He's getting mossed. He's never in the right position. When he is in a position to make a play on the ball, he doesn't. And then you saw 39. You saw Keith Taylor getting toasted out there last week. So that's my concern about this defense. Other than that, I think the defensive line can make up for it. And Jalen Watson is going to be big having him back coming up when you got to play all these teams that like to spread the ball out, and you're going to need an extra cornerback, man.
Yep.
Yeah, and just talking about that Bills game, Brian, you can talk over this, but we talked about the 4th and 2, Chris Jones going up against Torrance here, one-on-one. Also, Karlaftis gets too far upfield too often for me. He doesn't play that contained very well against Josh Allen, and that both of them kind of led to that 4th and 2 play by Josh Allen there. Chris Jones trying to take the inside route, Karlaftis getting a little too far upfield. But what do you want to talk about with that Bills game?
And what do you guys honestly think the Chiefs are going to play like this in the AFC Championship game? That's the only time we're going to see the Bills. In this situation, that was what, a 3rd and 2, 4th and 2, or something like that?
Yeah.
So do you think the Chiefs are going to play that defense? Do you think Chris Jones is going to not contain his hole? Pause.
Right.
Have gap discipline? You don't think that Chris Jones is going to have gap discipline? You don't think like come on, man. I think in that Bills game, and this is my theory, I think that they held back a lot. I really do. I think that's the secret sauce with this team. Is that that's what I learned this year. And while all the frustration we went through last year, it may be a part of it too. Maybe they were just really struggling last year. But this year, I really seen that they don't show everything in the regular season. The Chiefs are treating the regular season like it's a peon league or something. The real season starts now for this team.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right.
It's always been like that. I'm just now figuring it out this year, though.
Brian, why did you think last year, and I know you and I disagreed on this vehemently, but I think you're starting to see where I was coming from when I said last season was not fun because they were winning games, obviously, and they did win the Super Bowl, but it was so, like, we were getting used to the way the Chiefs are now playing stylistically, where they're literally using the regular season as practice almost. It almost sounds arrogant to say, but you saw during the season this year where they'd have Hollywood Brown as the X factor of the offense. They were experimenting through running through him. They were experimenting through running Kareem Hunt 29 times in a game. They were doing things that it almost felt like, okay, this is what this scenario looks like. This is what this scenario looks like. It's arrogant, but they went 15-1 in meaningful games, so it's almost like they have a knowledge obtained above everybody else in this league that they just use to their advantage every week, where it's like, we're going to win this game, it's going to be ugly, our fans are going to be, having seizures on the sidelines because they can't take it anymore, but this is what we're going to do to better our chances for a Super Bowl run. That's just the way it is, guys, and it makes so much sense that it's a unique way of winning when you're doing something that literally no other team has ever done, which is going for a three-peat, a legitimate three-peat. So, yeah, they have to do it a little bit differently because if they go about it the way they did 40 years ago or 5 years ago, it's not going to work because the league's already found out on that. They've already seen that film, so they got to do it differently. And that's why I give so much praise to Andy Reid. For whatever reason, he's never in the Coach of the Year discussion, even though he continues to zig when everyone else zags. And he's only 15-1 in meaningful games this year after winning back-to-back Super Bowls. That guy's not Coach of the Year. I don't know who is. Or Patrick Mahomes is not even the MVP discussion. Yet this team continues to win and find ways to win. And now I think that has the best best chance to win the Super Bowl, even over the Lions, who it's their new, the Lions were the 2019 Chiefs, that new fan favorite that everyone's rooting for to take down a dynasty. That is what we have now, and the Chiefs have found ways to find a way above everybody else. So you're right, against the Bills, they showed one hand, they're going to show another. Spags going to have a completely different set of plays for that game, because that's what they did last year, and you saw it work when they slowed the Bills' offense down completely. If and when they face the AFC Championship, Spags can have a whole different bag of tricks for them, man. I guarantee you. And he'll be smoking stogie like I am as well.
Well, I'll say about that, you guys both bring great points. The only concern I have, and you guys, it's a legitimate concern. The left tackle position was a mess all season, and when we played the AFC West at home, Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders, we only scored one offensive touchdown each of those 3 games and had to settle for 3 field goals against the Broncos and 4 field goals against the Chargers and Raiders. So that was a concern. I don't know if Andy Reid was holding back anything in those games, because those were 3 games we easily could have lost. Did we lose it? Obviously not. But still, that was the biggest concern.
Well, I want to say something real quick, and obviously we got to get to our guy Brian about this one, because this is the most important. I want to hear from Brian on this one, but I think Brian's going to agree with me when I say this. There's also the factor that the Chiefs had so many absences during the season on offense. They had so many pieces that are key acquisitions that they were going to build around during this offseason for this year. They did not have. I mean, they didn't have Hollywood Brown until week 16. They didn't have Pacheco for over 2 months. They got Luster in week 2. And they like you said, they haven't had a left tackle all year, so they've had to figure out a way to circumvent all of that during this season. So you're right, Shaggy. Like they got to do better offensively, but everything is aligned perfectly for the Chiefs to play better, because now they have all those assets, and they have finally found a fluidity offensively and a confidence. Like Shynin was saying just a minute ago, Patrick Mahomes looks comfortable. When have we said that all season? Now he looks comfortable. Exactly. So now it's that perfect time where you want to be peaking right as the postseason is coming about. That is exactly what the Chiefs are doing on both sides of the ball. Do you agree, Brian?
Lance, they did it last year. And we talked about this, but last year, that Dolphins game, they turned it on immediately. Yep. They turned it on, bro. And then you saw the next week, going to Buffalo and winning, going to Baltimore and winning. It's something that they unlock. Yep. Particularly Patrick Mahomes. This is the best time of the year for him. He's sharp. This is when he's his sharpest. This is when he's his most competitive, and this is when he is his most petty. I call him petty playoff Patrick Mahomes, baby. He's here, and yes, and the stakes have never been bigger for any team in the league. In history, in the 5-year history now in the National Football League, the stakes have never been higher for a team. And I know we're going to get into this Bengals conversation a little later. I cannot wait to dive into that. But for them to insinuate that we lied down, to insinuate that we threw the game, bro, we got bigger things to play for than measly South Ohio. Like, we're not concerned about you all. We're concerned about the playoffs and playoff teams. And you losing to the Patriots week 1 and getting swept by the Ravens and amounted to you not making the playoffs. Yep. So, yeah, man, I'm in total agreement with you on that, man. I just think that this team, they have a knack, and they know what to do when they know how to turn it on at the right time. And no other team, this is an advantage no other team in the league has, because no other team in the league has as much playoff experience as this team. Exactly. None. Exactly. None. So it's an advantage. It's a special advantage that you can have that I don't like. This is something Detroit, as annoying as they are, they don't have it. And for as tough and gritty as they are, they don't have any play. They have a little bit of playoff experience. They went to the NFC Championship game last year or whatever and choked, by the way. But that is a special asset that this team has to take advantage of, man, to get this 3-peat.
Couldn't say better.
I know you're a lover of the NFL and of the playoffs. For the Chiefs, we get to sit back and watch the world burn, baby, this weekend. But I got to ask you, do you feel like, we've never had a 7 seed beat a 2, right? So do you feel like, I think you got Packers and Eagles on the NFC side, and the big one that we're watching, Denver going to Buffalo, which I think has a chance to be a game. But when you look at this wild card round, talk us through it. Do you see anything surprising going on? Like, to me, I would be shocked if Pittsburgh goes to Baltimore and could beat the Ravens, and I would be surprised if Denver could pull off such an upset as well. So what are you looking at this wild card round?
Man, you hit it, Clint. Pause. The Bills, the Broncos Bills game. Those two games on the end. I think all of them are great matchups. The two, I'll do the two worst matchups. Pittsburgh at Baltimore.
Yeah.
I love part threes. I'm a big fan. Like The Godfather part 3, Friday After Next.
Boom.
What's another part 3? I love part 3 in movies. So I love part 3 in football. And Steelers versus Ravens is not going to live up to a part 3, a great part 3, because the Steelers have been figured out for the past several weeks. Russell Wilson got in the offense. It looks lethargic now. It seems like people have film on them and keyed in on what they're doing. Plus, George Pickens, Noah's favorite wide receiver in the NFL. He's out there acting the ass, getting into it with fans, and I'm sure he's complaining in the locker room about not getting the ball or whatever as he begs to come to Kansas City. Another wide receiver that wants to come to Kansas City, by the way. But I see Baltimore blowing Pittsburgh out. And I also see Green Bay losing bad to the Eagles. I think the Eagles are on a roll right now, and the Packers don't have the same sizzle as they had last year going into the playoffs. Watson, he's hurt. Jordan Love, he was clutching his hand, and they just lost to the Bears. What? You needed to win that game.
They did need to win that game. That was ridiculous.
You lost to the Bears. So I think, but those other games, I love them all. They are all must-see TV. Two in particular I'm loving, though, is Broncos at Bills. I'm like you, Clint. I think the Broncos have a chance to go up in there and knock those guys off. I think they match up well with Buffalo. And I'm not sure Buffalo can put a stop to Bo Nix and that offense and what they can do. Maybe I'm completely wrong and I'm delusional. Maybe Buffalo blows the brakes out of them because it's Bo Nix. He's a rookie. This is his first playoff start. Who knows? I'm intrigued anyway. And then the other game, Vikings at Rams. I got the Rams. I do. I think the Vikings are fraudulent.
100% agree.
And I thought the Vikings were better than Detroit, but Detroit went in there and punked them at home for that NFC North and for the 1 seed. And Sam Darnold, he went back to Sam Darnold. Yep. He was looking like Joe Namath who was a Viking. He was looking like Brad Johnson circa 1998. You know what I'm saying? With the same number. Look at that. He was looking like Brad Johnson earlier this year, but now he's looking like who's another number 14? Let's say Dan Fouts in like 1988 or something. You know, you put the pressure on Darnold's ass, and he's gonna shake. And he was shaking like booty meat Sunday night, baby. He has been that inaccurate all season to the best wide receiver in the game. You march down to the red zone 3 or 4 times and you come away with no touchdowns.
Right.
What? So yeah, I see the Vikings going into LA and losing, and it's a shame, man. A 14-3 season, and you got to go on a road, and you may be one and done. Ugh.
Yeah, that's rough. And we got a question here from Jamie Minton. I'll start with you first, Brian, because a lot of people are saying they like what they saw in DJ Humphries against the Broncos. What do you guys think about who will start at left tackle next game? Do they go DJ Humphries and kick Joe Thuney back into guard? A lot of people like what they saw at DJ Humphries against the Broncos.
Look, good, Brian. I want to hear.
I've talked enough, bro. Go ahead.
You guys know, and Clint, I know you're excited about this conversation. I know you're about to backflip.
That's why you start with me. No, I'm kidding. Please don't even ask me. But no, it's important. It is important.
Yes, it is. It is very important. I think the Chiefs showed their hand. That one thing they showed their hand in Week 18 was what I think their actual plan is. I think they have all intents and purposes of playing DJ Humphries at left tackle, at least to start their first postseason game. What they know is that they have a safety valve in Joe Thuney. They know that also that their offensive line is at its absolute best, both for the pass and run game when Joe Thuney is playing left guard. He can play left tackle. He's proven that. But he is not a natural left tackle, so you don't want him playing left tackle for a stretch in the postseason when you're playing the best of the best. You want him at his natural position. That is why they've spent $2+ million or $3+ million on DJ Humphries for this season, because they had all intents and purposes on him being the starter. And I think that DJ Humphries, being a veteran player, is going to get the benefit of the doubt and get that chance to at least start that game. If he doesn't play well, they can always do what they've already been doing. which is swing Joe Tooney over there and then adjust as accordingly, have Caliendo play left guard. That's what I think they're going to do, because if that wasn't their plan, I think they would have done whatever they wanted to do and just experimented at left guard or left tackle, maybe played Kingsley for a little bit, done some other things, or just rested Joe Tooney. Joe Tooney played left guard in this game, so I think they wanted to see what Joe Tooney and DJ Humphries were going to look like together. They did it. They played for a while together. I'm not saying DJ Humphries, blew my mind. He didn't do anything spectacular, but getting him reps is everything he needs, because he's a veteran player. Like I said, he doesn't need experience. He just needs to get his body in shape, and I think that's what you saw in this game. Now he gets to rest his 30-year-old body and get ready for the postseason. So if I'm going to place a wager right now on the show, I would bet confidently that you will see on that first snap of the offense in 2 weeks that you'll see DJ Humphrey playing left tackle.
I hope myself that it's Joe Tooney, just because of the fact that the last 2 games the Chiefs have played with Patrick Mahomes and Joe Tooney at left tackle, the Chiefs showed more fluidity on offense than they had and probably since early October. We went through that 7-week stretch that I alluded to against our division, against Carolina and Cleveland, where we looked like we were kind of putrid on offense. We kind of just sleptwalked through those games that I know we won, but it wasn't ideal. Joe Tooney showed that he could do it. Now, here's what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to start DJ Humphries at left tackle, but it's going to be like pitchers in a game 7 of a. I know Clint hates this freaking comparison,
but it's actionable. Yeah,
but I think it's like a pitcher that you need him on 2 days rest to start game 7 of the World Series. He's only going to give you maybe 4 innings at best. I think they're going to try to give DJ Humphries out there. And if the Chiefs look good with DJ Humphries out there, I think he's going to stay. But if it's still kind of, I don't know, we're not really gelling, I think they go back to Joe Tooney through the middle of the 3rd quarter. What do you say, Brian?
So I want to ask you guys a question. When do you think that the Chiefs played their best ball during this entire season?
Last 2 games.
Yeah.
And all right, and I agree. As well. And our left tackle was who?
Joe Tooney.
Joseph Tooney.
I don't want to mess with the chemistry, fellas. I get it. Everything you all said makes perfect sense, and it sounds like what the Chiefs are going to do. It really does. I just have concerns about the rhythm. I have concerns about them gelling together. When you're on the O-line, pre-snap is probably the most important part of the O-line, because you got to know what you're doing and how you're doing it and who you're attacking and who you're not attacking sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So you got to figure out your double teaming and all of that. And I just figured that Caliendo is good enough at guard. The running game has suffered a little bit. It has. I will say that.
You and Noah talked about that on Brian's World this week, about how the running game, that's something we'd really brought up, is that the running game has taken a bit of a hit.
It has. It has. And for that alone, you put Tooney back in that guard and put Humphries in that tackle. But man, I'm so worried about the chemistry with that O-line. And if DJ Humphries can sustain himself throughout the whole game, let's say he pulls a hamstring or something in the 3rd quarter, and now we got to make adjustments again.
Right.
And it's good to have a backup plan, have a plan B. And I'm glad we have that in Tooney.
Yeah.
But man, oh man, Humphries is not in shape yet. It's impossible. He's only been with the Chiefs for what, a month and a half or so.
Hamstring.
Yeah, and he's had limited time playing. And I'm like you fellas, it's good that he got the PT in the Broncos game. And I just hate to disrupt what the Chiefs have been looking like ever since the Texans game. Yeah. They've looked like a different team. And I just hate to interrupt that with Patrick Mahomes feeling comfortable with knowing that Tooney is going to handle business on that left tackle.
That's fair. And I've got a question here to pose to you guys. I'm not sure anyone's going to like it, but I'm going to do it anyway, because that's what I do. So here's the question. I'll start with you, Clint, and then we can just go around the horn, whoever wants to take it next. If the Chiefs are eliminated from the playoffs, it will be because, and you fill in the blank.
I feel like that obviously there's X's and O's reasons that you could break down. Oh, the offensive line fell apart, or, Mahomes started turning the ball over again. But I'm just going to go to something more in the cosmos here, because we've seen how this team has won so many games this season. We know about the Leo Chanel's blocked field goal and the doink against the Chargers. We know how the Chiefs have won so many games this season. It's just felt like kind of a team of destiny in a lot of ways. But I think it would be like the reverse of that, just something insane happening that goes against us. That would be a tipped ball intercepted, a pass like the Denver caught for a touchdown that ricocheted off 3 bodies, hypothetically, something like that, that it would be just something like time to pay the fiddler. It's time to pay the piper, and it's at the worst possible time. I feel like it would be something so gut punching and gut wrenching that we can't even really fathom it right now. And I don't even want to concoct the exact scenario that it would be, but I feel like it would be.
I have one.
Okay. Go ahead.
We've seen it all season, and it has pissed me off every single game. And I just don't understand. It's been since week 1, fellas. These damn 3rd and longs. The Chiefs will have these teams in 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 15, 3rd and impossible. And somehow they make the damn first down.
Yep.
It's been numerous amounts of time. So that's I told you a concern I had was the defensive backs earlier in the show. It's the same thing. A 3rd and 15 against Josh Allen at Arrowhead. Yeah. They're on a 40-yard line, and they need to get to the 25-yard line for a first down and get in field goal range. There's 8 seconds left. And he completes it on Najee Johnson down the middle against Mac Hollins, to set Buffalo up for, a 40-yard field goal try to try and go to the Super Bowl. I hate to be so realistic with what I said, but it just I can see it happening, unfortunately.
Good one.
I got some people in the chat right here that have taken mine, so I'll just go to them. Baca, 87, Butker missing field goals be our downfall. Super Devil Goose on a broken Butker kick. He has not been the same since returning from that injury. We saw it again against the Broncos. We play a lot of close games. I think if we are sent home, we're sent packing. It's because we can't have that reliable option. We can't trust Butker anymore because he's missing the field goals. He's not right. I don't like how he goes down on his left knee. It was working before. Then he had the surgery. It's not working now. I'm nervous about that. I think that could end our run.
That's kind of along the lines of my points, Noah. If the Chiefs keep having to settle for field goals like we did against the Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders this year at Arrowhead Stadium by only scoring 16 or 19 points, if we go and score 19 points or 16 points, and if it's that kind of game, that concerns me about losing the playoff game.
Here's the thing, guys, real quick. Butker I think that's something we should have a serious conversation about. The good thing is that he, along with the rest of the team, gets to rest. And I think that's what he needs more than anything right now. It did worry me a little bit in the game of the Broncos when he went far left, and you'd never see that. I think that's the first field goal he's missed in Denver in his career. And so he's had to me, Butker is putting himself in his own standard, where if he misses a kick, you have to automatically assume something's wrong because he's that great. And I have a strong inclination this dude's going to put it together in the postseason when it matters the most, because he's had seasons before, even in 2022, where he missed several games due to a leg injury and then came out and was nails in the postseason. I know it's a little bit different because it was just a hamstring. It wasn't an MCL. It's a different severity, but it's still a leg injury nevertheless, and those things can linger. And he was nails in the postseason. He's been nails in the postseason every single year, so that's not what I think is going to take them out. And I completely respect what Brian just said about the third down stuff, because that is driving me absolutely insane. It's not just 3rd and 6 and 3rd and 12. It's 3rd and 69, pause. It's all kinds of numbers you can throw out there, and they're still converting that shit. Dude, I'm with you on that. But here's the thing, and I'm not trying to disagree with you too harsh on it, but they still found ways to win those games. They still found ways to overcome that. So I think they will still overcome it in the postseason, even if that was a deterrent that they were trying to overcome. This is the only thing, guys, that's going to keep the Chiefs from winning another Super Bowl. An injury to number 15. That's the only thing. And I'm saying an injury that keeps him out of the games. If he can't, because if he goes out there and plays with an injury, I actually think he's going to get better. But I think if he's taken out, that is the only way the Chiefs do not win another Super Bowl, because this team has overcome all the other injuries. They've overcome all the 3rd and 69s. They've overcome Harrison Butker being out for a long period of time and missing field goals when he's back. They overcome this stuff. The one thing this team cannot overcome is losing their most important player, which is Patrick Mahomes. So that's the only way I see them not repeating in this run. That's the only way.
Especially after last week. Golly.
Baltimore Ravens are having the same kicking issues in 2024 as well. So we saw Matt Stover. This hasn't been a good year for Matt Stover at all. Probably one of his worst in time.
Justin Tucker.
Matt, you are stuck in 2001. Look
Justin
at you.
Justin Tucker.
Matt Stover.
I said
Shaggy. Man, I was Shaggy. Come to the future, baby.
Nice name drop.
Thank
He was
you.
watching some old film on the radio.
We get it, Shaggy. We get it, Shaggy. You know the league, all right? We get it. You remember the guys. We get it.
McAfee too. Is having a
I thought you was going somewhere with the Matt Stover. That's why I didn't interrupt. But I was like,
Justin Tucker and Harrison Butker are in slumps. So, the Baltimore Ravens fans are concerned about their kicker as well.
Sure. Great
and we
point.
know Buffalo should be concerned about theirs, as someone.
Oh, boy.
pointed out.
Tyler Ass.
Yeah, he seems to hit some long ones, but then miss some chippies, and it always seems to be in critical situations. So,
he missed in a divisional game last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, right now the Chiefs are a 28% chance to make the Super Bowl according to the computers. 28%. You think about, having the 1 seed, but that makes sense when you think about what would a divisional round game be? 55%, 60%. You would be confident in the Chiefs winning, and then an AFC Championship game against Buffalo. What would that be? A 50-50 game, 51-49. That's the numbers, and so winning it is going to be less than 28%. But yet this Chiefs team, they have the pedigree. No one else has anything resembling that. Everyone else is just trying to become America's darling, to be the team that does it and to get rid and vanquish these hated Chiefs. And that's what we are. And that's why we love being here. That's why we love what we do. It's like being rich and everyone else is a poor.
Yo, if the Chiefs make it to the bowl again and they're playing the Lions, I just want to prepare Chiefs Kingdom
I
for the
told
hate.
Noah this earlier. Yes.
The hate that we're going to receive from global hate. All right. This ain't just going to be United States hate. It's going to be global. And I'm going to bask in it, fellas. I'm going to love it because it's nothing better than being a villain and just disappointing everybody. I love it.
Silence in the crowd is a lot better than getting the crowd loud, I think, in my opinion.
Yes.
Patrick loves being the villain, dude. I know he's a nice guy. He's the sweetest dude on the planet, and this team's full of nice guys. Andy Reid's a nice guy. This team likes it, guys. I think they
He's
love
an asshole,
more.
man.
You see it on the road. They just seem like a more focused team on the road than they are at home. They just love silencing critics and shutting people up. They're obsessed with that, dude.
except the narrative will be like, whoa, the Chiefs are lucky it's the Lions and Eagles and the Bengals aren't in the NFC and somehow made the Super Bowl. Oh, man, they'd be
Glad you brought that up, Noah. Because Brian, nobody's as close to this Bengals situation as someone like you. Your wife, bless her, is from, I believe, the Cincinnati area. She's a Bengals fan. You're in it. You know it. You've been tweeting about it, posting, Xing about it, Twixing about it. And we've had to deal with this hilarious narrative. The Chiefs have, let's be honest, dealt with some hilarious and over-the-top narratives throughout this season, but this has been my favorite.
It has. It's been a favorite of mine too. Let me get right into it. So, let's start with this. If it was the other way around, let's say the Chiefs were 8-8 going into Week 18, and the Bengals were playing, I don't know, the Steelers or something, and they needed to lose, or they needed something to happen for the Chiefs to get into the playoffs. Do you think the Bengals would open their arms wide and let the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs? Or do you think they would try everything in their power to try and keep us out? You answer that for me, please. I don't think you guys need to answer. I think we all know the answer.
It's rhetorical.
Everybody
It's
knows
rhetorical.
they would keep us out.
RG3
So why the hell would you
disagrees.
like Bengals fans are literally crying and begging. They had a change.org petition or something to try and reverse the result. Are you serious? What? It's
Those always
we
work,
earned the
Brian,
right.
so
We
better
earned
watch
the right to. We went 15-1 for a reason. We earned the right to sit our starters in Week 18. We have bigger fish to fry. This is not a rivalry. This isn't something that we need to be concerned about because you're not even a playoff caliber team. So why we be concerned about you and your city and what you're doing when we're going for a three-peat? We're going for history.
Right.
So look, man, Bengals fans just need to get over it. You shouldn't have lost to the Patriots Week 1. You shouldn't have got swept by the Bengals. You shouldn't have lost to Jaden Daniels in your crib. They renamed that stadium J-Core, by the way. J-Core, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They named it J-Core because Jaden Daniels came into your stadium on Monday Night Football and kicked your ass. So look in the mirror before you look at us. Please, don't watch me. Watch TV.
I want to add to that narrative too, because we've heard nothing but this crying and obsession. But it's not, honestly, guys. It hasn't even just been from Bengals fans. I heard somebody mention RG3. He was saying about, man, the Chiefs did everything they could to keep the Bengals out of the playoffs. My God, and I saw these ESPN writers out of the blue, people I've never even heard of, coming out and saying that the Chiefs did an all-time letdown, or they said an all-time bending of, or they called it basically a fix. They try to say it without really saying it. And you know me, man, I'm obsessed with the historics of things. I love knowing the numbers of things and the trends of things. And I went back and looked over the last 10 years, guys, teams that locked up the 1 seed before the final week of the season, that rested their starters in the final game of the regular season, are a combined 1-9. So that tells me those teams did the exact same thing the Chiefs just did. And how many of you on this show or that are watching the show heard anybody call those teams out beforehand and go, oh, they threw it. They threw that game. How dare they? That blows the quality of this game. How dare they do that to this league and our viewing audiences? How dare they? No one's done it. But now the Chiefs did it, and it comes at the cost of a team like we've all just been alluding to that screwed themselves all season. Now it's the Chiefs' fault. Now they took a dive. Now it's their fault the Bengals aren't in. No! You take care of your own business, like Brian just alluded to. If it was the other way around, no one's talking about, oh, poor Chiefs. No one's sitting here talking about Patrick Mahomes as an MVP candidate on a playoff list team. And I tweeted this out a couple days ago, and I mean this, and I stand by this. If you switch Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow's numbers, and Joe Burrow was on a 15-1 team, Joe Burrow wins unanimous MVP.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it there.
Here, let me add on. Let me put the cherry on top, and you build a great Sunday.
Thank you.
But let me tell you this: along with their defensive coordinator, the Patrick Mahomes solver allegedly got fired. Okay, but the real reason why Bengals fans are so upset that they're not going to make it to the playoffs. I need to get close to the camera for this.
Let's see this. Here we go.
It is because that is the last time that we're ever going to see Burrow, Chase, and Higgins all on the same team.
Boom.
It's done. They're not signing Higgins. They're barely going to sign Jamar Chase if they're going to do that. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do that. Jamar Chase is going to want more money than Justin Jefferson now after the season he just had.
Right,
you don't pay that man in a contract year, and he goes off and has an all-time year. Now, okay, fine. You pay Chase, you pay Burrow. We know they're not paying Higgins. He's gone. That's the real reason why they're super mad. They wanted to see that little combination play one more time, but no, we killed it. And let's say that you do pay Jamar Chase. You're paying Burrow, what, 45 or 50? Okay?
Yep.
And you got to pay Chase at least 30. That's the floor. At least 30, 35. So that's what, 80, 90 mil out of your cap every year. Good luck building a team with that. Good luck. There's no Veach over there. You might have Burrow, fine. You might have Jamar Chase, fine, good. But you still have your head coach, and you don't have Brett Veach. So good luck putting your team together.
And Trey Hendrickson too here, right?
Yeah. If people think Clark Hunt's cheap, you guys should look at Paul Brown, the guy that owns the Bengals. That guy is already explaining to you.
Cheap.
Yeah, he goes, there's so many pieces of the pie. You can't split it up all these different ways. There's so many pieces of the pie. He loves pie, apparently.
Wow.
He ain't sharing that pie, boys. I'm just letting you know. You're right, dude. They couldn't even get Jamar Chase set up this year. Now he just had a Triple Crown season. You know he's going to ask for, I think he's going to get at least $38 million a year. That's what I think he's getting.
We're talking about an organization, Lance, that just built an outdoor practice facility 2 years ago in Cincinnati. Do you know it's colder in Cincinnati than it is Kansas City sometimes?
Oh, yeah.
TJ
Can you
Houshmandzadeh was saying
imagine
back
having an outdoor practice facility here?
TJ Houshmandzadeh, when he used to play for them, he said that literally, this is not a joke. He said players were sharing jock straps.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah. And Gatorade.
Yeah. They have like, the holes in the conduits and those little PCP pipes. That's how guys were getting water during practices back in his day. It's insane. That's insane.
I bet they get A+ on the report card, though. Not the Chiefs, though. Not here.
That's not for us. We also have our postseason awards to get to. So,
boy. This is going to be entertaining.
Regular season, so now we've got to give out the awards for the regular season now that we're through it. And we start off with Back from the Dead, everybody was praising CJ Stroud after his rookie year, saying they messed up with Bryce Young. But Bryce is playing great football while CJ Stroud's in a slump. Was Bryce the right pick after all?
Woo! Hey, Bryce was looking nice against them Falcons, boy. Golly.
Like a turnaround Steph Curry thing.
Nice against us.
Is it just me though?
It was, Clint.
is it just me though? Or do I want to see Bryce actually play in meaningful games though? Because I'll give him credit, he's been playing better football, but the pressure has not been on the Panthers ever since their first 2 months. They started off horrible. Dalton was playing for a while. They benched Bryce Young. It looked like the end of Bryce Young. He did come back and play better football, but unlike CJ Stroud, Bryce hasn't really been in the limelight as far as okay, there's expectations now. You're going on a playoff run. CJ's got that on him. The CJ factor is a little bit different because CJ now has taken such a step backwards when everybody was calling him the Super Bowl, or they're going to the Super Bowl. He was going to win MVP this year. He's been atrocious, and ironically, he got worse the moment he started telling Caleb Williams, "Hey, bro, stop taking so many hits." He was trying to coach him / son him, and ever since then, he's played like ass, and Caleb Williams started playing better football, and Bryce Young's played better football. So it looks really bad on C.J. Stroud. But I've been the harshest critic on Bryce Young because I don't trust smaller quarterbacks. I've never bought into it, and this is coming from a guy who's 5'9". But I'm telling you right now, I don't think that Bryce Young is going to be that guy that, takes the Panthers to prominence. But I will give him credit for playing better football. But now that he's doing that, to the chagrin of this, he's going to have to do that now next season when there's going to be actual expectations. Because to their credit, Dave Canales has slightly turned them around a little bit. Let's see what they do next season before we start crowning them.
No, wait, Lance. I strongly disagree. Baker Mayfield was the #1 overall pick in 2018, and he's not very tall either. Bryce Young, you have to give him at least another 2 years to let him flourish because the Browns gave up on Baker Mayfield way too soon. And Baker Mayfield's proven that with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning the South for him the last 2 seasons. They got to let Bryce Young grow. They just have to give him 2 more seasons. You have to believe in him. He was a #1 overall pick. If you don't stick with Bryce Young for 2 more seasons, you look like an epic failure. You end up looking like the Cleveland Browns. You don't want to be the Cleveland Browns. Specifically,
they're gonna stick. They're gonna stick with him. That's not the issue. I'm saying that, and to the Baker point, I think Baker's 6 foot 6'1", so there's a significant height difference between those two guys. But I agree, he is to the standard a little bit undersized. But Baker's a bigger, thicker quarterback that can take punishment. Bryce is about 180 pounds, 85 pounds. That's a really little guy in the league that's taking that kind of punishment in the pocket. So I agree with you. They need to give him more time, and maybe he will continue to make me look wrong, and I'm willing to stand on that. If you look at the history of this league, smaller quarterbacks do not flourish. They don't last long. Look at Kyler Murray. He's probably the most talented, undersized quarterback we've ever seen. And what has he done? He's won literally nothing in this league.
Still, when you take somebody overall, you got to give them that chance.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you.
And that'll do it for our award show here. Thank you so much.
Hey,
no, you got any more.
I promise. I swear I have more. We've got the Trojan Horse Award, and that goes to Sam Darnold. He was a Trojan at USC, and he was shining as a great quarterback, and then they open it up, and he's a pumpkin. He's turned back into a pumpkin. The moments got big, and he shrunk. You're going to see it again when he goes on the road to the Los Angeles Rams and loses that game.
Yep.
It's not what he does. He's not a big game quarterback. So
couldn't agree more.
We got the Peter Gibbons Office Space Award. I don't like my job, and I don't think I'm going to go anywhere.
Hey, can I mute my mic for a little bit while you guys talk about this?
That was crazy.
Him
coming out of that game, it really pissed me off. It did, and I'm not even a Colts fan, but it's like, bro, what are you doing? So many people would die to have your position and what you're doing, and if you're not in shape, that I guess that's one thing. But is your desire there?
Yeah. It's bad. It's a bad look, man. I was so big on Anthony Richardson coming out of college. I was like, guys, the guy's too talented with Shane Steichen. It's going to be a match made in heaven. I had this team in the postseason. I could not have been more wrong about this one, guys. Anthony Richardson, he's still so talented and so much fun to watch, but he can't get the simple things down, man. It's really bad. So I've kind of lost hope on this whole experiment with Anthony Richardson. He's still young. He's only 22. He's younger than Bryce Young. He's younger than some of these other guys. He's younger than a lot of guys in college right now. But I think that he's showing us that mentally it's not there right now. Let's see if he can put that together because he's putting Shane Steichen on the hot seat real quick.
Absolutely. And to stick with the Office Space theme, we're going with the Milton Office Space Award. I was told I would make the playoffs. I set the building on fire. Tyreek Hill was not happy about missing the playoffs, and now he wants out of Miami. They said they've had a meeting and they said he didn't request a trade, but I think as the offseason lingers and continues on, Tyreek's going to do everything he can to get out of there. And
Yeah, wait till the Chiefs get that old group chat popping with him and Kelsey and Chris Jones and Andy Reid and Beach and Clark Hunt all in the same text thread. Yeah, okay. When those texts get to popping, something gonna be happening.
Well, let me ask you guys all a question. I want to hear from Noah and Clint on this one, especially because I think that they have some thoughts on this. I have a scenario for you guys because I think there's a real chance that the Chiefs, if everything goes well in the postseason on this run, the three-peat, I think there's a chance that both D-Hop and Hollywood Brown will be back. Here's my scenario though. Here's my scenario though, and I can explain to you why I think that's going to happen. But let's say there's options on the table. The Chiefs can either spend 10 to 15 million on contracts with D-Hop and Hollywood Brown, or they can bring Tyreek Hill back for a little bit more money. Which one are you guys choosing?
Look, I wanted to add to that theory before I answered.
Go ahead, yeah.
What if Kelsey retires?
Yeah, exactly. And Rachi's going to be suspended for half the season. So they need pieces. They need pieces. And if they win with these two guys, then you would want to bring him back. And D-Hop, he's made all the money in the world. At this point, if he wants to keep playing, he's playing for legacy. He wants to make the Hall of Fame. Hollywood Brown has no market. He's 27, 20 years old with injury prone all over him. So the Chiefs can get him on the cheap. So there's that option there. I really think it's real. But if they know that they can go and get, and this Chiefs team is infamous for bringing guys back. They love doing that. If they can do that with other guys, like much smaller guys that don't play the level of Tyreek Hill, if they can get Tyreek Hill back, I don't know if they trade for him. I don't know if that's a reality or not. But if they knew they get a trade package that gives up a third-round pick, let's say they have to give up that Titans pick, and they can get the Tyreek Hill, I think they entertain it, guys. Maybe they use that pick to trade for a left tackle in the draft, which is something they need, but if they know that, hey, we still can get the left tackle situation secured, but we could use this pick to get Tyreek Hill back, and he would be much cheaper than we were trying to get him 4 years ago. I mean, it's going to be really hard for Brett Veach to turn that down. Do you guys agree, or which door are you guys taking on that one?
Well, I mean, okay, so if Kelsey retires, that's what, 15 to 18 mil coming off the books or something like that?
Yeah.
The cap is going up because of all the TV contracts or whatever. It's going to go up $10, $20 million or whatever. I don't think the money is an issue. I really don't, especially if Kelsey retires. Now, my thing on Kelsey retiring, why I keep mentioning it, is because I think he's slowed down a little bit, and you see him taking a step in his other life. We've seen it for the past year and a half, 2 years. Saturday Night Live, starring in movies, appearing in commercials, on the road with Taylor Swift, blase, whatever. I mean, what better retirement would you have than going out on a three-peat?
Going out on
the greatest, the undisputed, the greatest tight end to ever play. He would have broken Jerry Rice's postseason record. Who people would never would have thought anybody would break. But a damn tight end could accomplish all of those as Noah is on it. He pulls it up. Look at that.
He did that right now.
If he passes Jerry Rice in touchdowns and yards, and he gets a three-peat, he's done.
Goat.
He's done.
Yep.
So I think if Kelsey retires, we already got our tight end locked in. Noah Gray signed a contract extension last year. We already got tight end one in the building. If you add Tyreek to this offense along with that, I'm not. Oh God, can you just fellas just take a second? I don't know what number Tyreek is. Maybe he'll wear his original 81 that he wore.
Because the Checo's gone.
The real ones remember Tyreek Hill wearing 81 for those preseason games. Then he switched to 10.
I like
He's
81.
not getting
That was
10. That's Pacheco's number. He's not getting that.
Pacheco might not be around.
Pacheco, I don't care about Pacheco.
I hope so. But let's just imagine Xavier Worthy on one side, Tyreek Hill on the other.
That Chubby's
Maybe
coming back.
later in the season, Rashee Rice in the inside on the slot or something. You got Pacheco in the backfield. I mean, what?
Chubby's back.
How do you turn that down?
Chubby's back.
Clint, could we get Brian back on a free agent freakout special in March?
We haven't signed the
freak out
contract
for
yet
real.
for that program.
Sending text to Jeremy Maclin like John Dorsey, baby.
No, the Chiefs aren't going to trade for Tyreek Hill. That's the one obstacle here. They're not going to trade a second or a third round pick for him this year. But I think, like Nick Wright brought up, in 2026 is when Nick Wright says he thinks Tyreek Hill become a Chief, and that's when probably Kelsey would be gone. But you know what? I kind of like this world of like Hollywood Brown re-signing, Xavier Worthy, and then massaging that. I just don't think there's probably room for D-Hop there. But then there's you do something else. It's
I would love to have him back.
I know. I want them all. I want a lot of things, Brian.
Like Pokemon.
I want all the guys. I want all the mans. I want the old
everyone else here wants.
Color sketch. They said there's too many mans on the field. That's what I want, baby. Too many mans on the field, because to me that's party time.
Yikes. Okay.
Live
your life, Clint. I see you. But like I think this is an interesting thing to think about, because it's so many ways the Chiefs can go with this. Plus, the other thing that we're not thinking about is the players want to be here.
Yeah.
They're not trying to leave. Like, you see with Tyreek Hill, and how can Tyreek Hill go back to the Dolphins? How can he go back in that locker room and be trusted? He didn't go back into the game when he was asked. And then and then after the game, you say that?
Yep.
He said clearly, I don't want to be here. I want to leave. The door is open. He said it clearly. And you can see it in his eyes that it's like the SpongeBob meme where the guy is in jail looking at everybody else have fun or whatever. That's how Tyreek Hill is feeling right now. He feels like he should be in the playoffs.
And he has no one to blame but himself. If he can go back in time, you guys all know. If Tyreek can go back in time and have those conversations with Brett Veach and Drew Rosenhaus, he would tell Drew, do whatever you got to do to make sure I stay here in Kansas City. Because he would see, it's like the Christmas Carol when they take him, Ichabod Crane, through the whole scenario. He'd be like, oh, hell no, I'm not going through that. He would go right back to where he is and stay here, build a legacy, still make $25+ million a year, and have himself a Hall of Fame career. He's already a Hall of Famer, but he would be so much more established and so much more revered if he'd have stayed here in Kansas City. Look, he wants the Kareem Hunt treatment. He wants that experience where, man, I would do anything to get back to Kansas City. Okay. And I think at some point he will have his chance to do that. I do think that.
You want the Kareem Hunt treatment? We need the Kareem Hunt treatment. Player, we're going to need you on a discount.
Exactly. And that'll probably happen in 2026 then.
Right.
Absolutely. We got a few more awards here. You all remember the Nickelodeon show, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
Remember Guts. How about Guts?
Now we are You Afraid of the Bengals?
Maybe the 2025 Bengals. How about that?
No one needs a raise, man. This is some good shit right here.
I had to bring this back because I knew Brian was coming on the show. I know how much he loves him alone. So with Aaron Rodgers,
I appreciate it.
Look what you did, you little jerk. Zach Wilson
with the Pepsi.
You're going to wet the bed.
Laissez compétent.
Zach Wilson was 7-10. Aaron Rodgers 5-12. Not a leader, not a team player. And the last one, I saved this for Clint and really everybody. Karma is the award.
Yes.
Yes. Boy.
Clint with the W. Clint with the W.
This is.
Clint with the dub. Clint with the dub.
Wow.
I still want to know who the guy is that was like the dude with the green hat from Old School trying to come in and start something in there. Like,
hold this L, Jerry. Hold this L, Jerry.
So,
Jerry's eating rice. Jerry's eating rice.
Since we're here, okay, I just want to know, like, Clint, you were the one who, did he run up? He ran up on Noah. So, Noah, if Jerry Rice were to cock his arm back, and like, would you sit there and take that punch?
Hell yeah, that's millions of dollars right there.
That's a couple $1 million punches right there. You know what I'm saying? That's a couple mil right there. Would you kind of like do one of these or something? Or would you just take
Noah's mouth looked like Rex Ryan after that, but it'd be worth it because it'd be paid for. You know what I mean? Like,
I was actually thinking about that. Like, while he was in my face yelling at me and asking me why I would say that, and I was like, you don't even know who you're talking to right now.
What you said?
I know we're just a couple of like basic balding white dudes, but come on, Jerry.
But I was thinking about that while he was yelling at me and he thought some come get some. I was like, if he does hit me, I'm just gonna like kind of stay there, maybe even lean into it a little bit to get this money.
Get your WCW on.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
Sell it.
Starcade Media. You might as well act
Sell
like
it.
was Alex right or
boom.
don't do that. Stop, Noah. Stop.
Clint needs to be doing
Ernest
that.
the Cat. What was Ernest the Cat? What was his last name?
Miller. Ernest the Cat
Miller.
Miller.
Yeah.
So yeah, get your WCW on, man. Really really sell it.
Oh, I would. I'd go flying.
We'll have to ask him again this year the same question because the Chiefs or the Niners are in no playoff contention here, and the Chiefs are the 1 seed. So we'll have to see if
Chiefs going to be suspended next year. Make it
that was a special moment because Jerry Rice is my brother's all-time favorite player.
A lot of people.
Like I had to grow up listening to things about Jerry Rice nonstop all the time, and so that just hit me in a special place last year, gentlemen. I'm always
what place exactly? I wonder if it's the same place that Jerry was going to hit Noah at. You know what I mean? I wonder if it hit you in the same place. That's what I was curious about.
I'd like to ask Jerry, like, where were you going to punch me? I know you wanted to punch me. Where was it going to be?
Was it the jejunum?
I'll give him that. He did not flinch. He stood there with his hands in his pockets, like, what's going on here?
Stood on business, MF. He stood on MF business, baby.
He stood on it. He was
There's ropes on either side, people watching. I was like, where am I going to run to? I don't know.
Right.
Well, we had the ringer in there, thank God. Who knows what would have happened without that guy interjecting himself?
Yeah, now he's selling rice with Uber Eats. Look at that.
Jerry's eating rice.
Out of here. Tell us kind of what you're doing with Foolish Club Media, Brian's World Podcast, where people can listen to it. Hot 103 Jams, your DJing, all you got going on. Let the people know.
I got way too much going. My wife tells me that I need to narrow it down. I got to keep working, baby. Hustle and shine in the morning every single weekday. Hot 103 Jams. We keep you updated on everything that's going on in KC. Plus, we make your belly jiggle a little bit when you laugh. Also, you mentioned it. Thank you, man, for inviting me on Starcade. You know, always love coming on here. Foolish Club Media, Brian's World. I dig into the Chiefs, culture, Kansas City, whatever the hell that's on my mind, which can be a lot. I got mixes coming out on SoundCloud, man. Just tap into the socials. Brian B. Shynin, every single social media outlet that you can think of. LinkedIn, YouTube, Adam and Eve. Okay, my bad. I'm actually not on there. If that's a social media site. But Brian B. Shynin on all socials, baby.
Awesome, man. Well, it's good to talk to you, man. I love you, Brian.
We missed you, bro.
Big love, man. I always love talking to you guys, man. And this ain't gonna be the last. We gonna link up again for sure. So thank you guys for always inviting me on, man.
First round, wild card round, everyone. We'll catch you back next week when the games start mattering again here in Kansas City.
Absolutely. Until next time, go Chiefs!